Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Inspired Afternoons with me, your host Marriam Mia. And now we into our educational insight segment, and we're speaking early childhood development. And I've got early childhood development specialist, Sister Mashuda Ebrahim, joining us again. And today we'll be discussing identity and belonging. Welcome and shukran for joining us on Be Live. So lovely to see you in the flesh.
Assalamu alaikum, and how are you, Maria, Sister Mariam?
Alhamdulillah, and yourself, Sister Mashuda. And
Alhamdulillah, it's
trust
just
that you are
cold.
doing well.
Alhamdulillah, it's very busy. We're busy marking a lot of online assessments for the students, so we're all just trying to pedal.
Yes, because from the last time we changed, the world is in a different place from where we were. Because when we chatted in February, I think we had no idea what was coming, and our whole lives will have to evolve in terms of how we educate and teach people. And you are a lecturer for early childhood development, and now you have to just move everything online. Online became now the order of the day.
It's extremely challenging for us as lecturers, but I think the students are also finding it a bit challenging, Sister Mariam, because they're battling to study online, especially the contact students. So they're battling a lot, and like on Wednesday, I'm going back into the university to give lectures for those who are really battling. So our heart goes out to these students who are not really used to studying through these platforms online. They enjoy the interaction, they enjoy the support they get from their lecturers, because you can put just so much online, but the value that comes out of your interaction with the students is beyond measures.
I'm so pleased you've actually given us this insight in terms from a lecturer perspective in tertiary education, because that has been one of my core focus in terms of protocols that have been put in place, what is best for us in terms of that from higher education, from basic education as well. But getting a human element to this in terms of the struggles, like you say, from a lecturer point of view, from your students who are learning. And that's the thing, that's why you attend lectures, because you go for that something extra, and nothing can replace that face-to-face human interaction.
Precisely, exactly.
Okay, so now let's go to the little ones that are close to my. This is a as an early childhood development specialist myself. This is close to my heart, and like I say, I love to chat to you, engage with you, because you speak my language. We speak little ones. We focus on you know those stages in terms of growth and development, and them attaining and acquiring skill sets phenomenal. In that 3 or 4 years, you basically develop half your skill set for the rest of your life. So it's a very important age in terms of their cognitive development, their physical development, their cognitive development, effective development, normative development. So every domain of development, they develop leaps and bounds. And in fact, if those developments are done accordingly and with proper facilitation, you have a well-rounded adult, or even a well-rounded teenager on the way to adulthood. So let's go here now. So tell me, let's unpack. What is this concept of identity and belonging? And what does it mean for a young child in terms of the identity and belonging? Let's unpack this concept.
Okay, so Sister Mariam, with identity and belonging, it forms around their personal development, which is
Sister
how
Mashura,
well
can
does
you
the
hear
child
me?
know themselves?
Let me just check with Brother Ziad.
Strongly related to
Uh,
the child's well-being. And the three main focus areas is that it falls around their personal development, which is how well does the child know themselves? Do they know what they like, what they dislike, what are their interests, what do they like to do?
Let me just check with Brother Ziad. I think we're having a problem here with our.
Is it
Mashira, can you
right?
hear me? I think we lost
Yes.
you for a bit. Uh,
Oh, okay. Where
okay,
did you lose me at, Mariam, so I can get
okay,
myself
about the
back?
likes and the interests. The likes and the
Yes.
interests.
So, with identity and belonging, it's all about the child's personal development. How well does the child know themselves? Do they know what they like? Do they know what they dislike? What foods they like? What activities they like? What they dislike? and it's about their social development. So you'll see that the two interlink, because once a child know who they are, know what they like, know what they dislike, then they are able to then form part of a team and interact with other people or other children or other adults. And when they interact within a team or within a bigger, larger social setting, they then meet differences within the other children or differences within adults. And it all rounds up to how well they know themselves to be able to interact with other people who have differences, and then how they celebrate those differences. It's also about the secure relationships that they have. And the stronger the child's identity and belonging, the more resilient the child becomes in adulthood. And that's precisely what kind of a adult you want to be. So because life is filled with challenges, and children need to be well informed to later on be able to make well informed decisions, well informed choices for themselves. So if their identity and belonging is strong within the 4 years, eventually when they reach adulthood or teenagers, they are well informed of how to make proper decisions for themselves. And I just want to bring in here, Sister Mariam, that as we know, for birth to four, there's no curriculum. There's no well-rounded curriculum for this age group. But there is a document called the National Curriculum Framework that is available for anyone. It's not only for practitioners or early childhood development specialists or caregivers for the working with these children, but it can also inform the parents. So within this curriculum framework, there are six what we call early learning development areas known as the elders, and the second one is identity and belonging. So which actually emphasizes how important this concept of identity and belonging for the child, for the 3-year-old to 4-year-old is actually.
Now, as parents, we are the guides, the mentors, the facilitators for our children, especially in this age group of 0 to 4, 0 to 5 years old. How do we how can we facilitate this process and ensure that our children are well grounded in who they are and where they belong to or where they come from, and be proud of themselves as well as their heritage? And that, so basically, for a Muslim parent as well, I mean, we know part of our children's identity we need to inculcate is they are Muslims. And also, I think from a very young age, to explain to children what essentially makes them Muslim. Why are they Muslim? Because we give them this title of you are Muslim, but maybe we don't delve into what does it entail? What is the essence of being a Muslim? Your faith is to believe in the oneness of the Almighty, but then to further discuss this oneness of the Almighty, what do we mean by it? Is it important to explain to our children, to offer advice and tips in terms of helping them develop their identity and their self of belonging?
Look, Sister Mariam, all of us are Muslims, like from on this platform where we're speaking now. So if we look at our identities and our children's identities, ultimately our core is to be Muslim, right? So we can't separate the two to say that our identity doesn't bring Deen and Islam. So as a parent myself, it's one of the core areas that I focus on, and that is why most of us choose. Sometimes it's a different situation for all parents, but many opt for Islamic schools, because from a young age you'll find that as we said, the child's brain develops at a rapid pace. So from a young age they inculcate that tawheed for the children, their oneness, and all of that falls into the child's identity and their sense of belonging. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to lose ourselves and become like steer away from our religion. So identity and belonging in our terms for our children, it focuses on our upbringing with the Islamic values, the Islamic attitudes. And if you look at the Islamic attitudes and just that of a normal, moral, ethical human being, it links, because Islam is such a well-rounded religion. So for a child, when we teach them to be clean and hygienically clean, it's also part of self-care and self-love, which is the core concept of identity and belonging. How well how clean are they? How hygienically clean are they? Do they brush their teeth? cleanliness, tidying up after play activities. All of those things come within our religion. So before we teach them in the school environment, tidy up after you playing and such things, it's already well grounded in our religion. And that's a very core concept for their self care. They need to know how to take care of their hygiene, and their cleanliness. And even if we teach them small things like making their beds, all of those things help them to know themselves better. It's very important because when they know themselves better later on in life, they won't allow other people to exploit them or abuse them. So if they have that self care and that self hygiene and self love, it becomes difficult for other people to abuse them or violate their rights because they know very well who they are.
So this is the grounding. If you want to cement and ground your child in who they are, this is it actually starts now, not when they're teenagers that we want to start inculcating these values, and that we start now at 0 to 4 is when we start. And also I think your identity and sense of belonging is very much aligned to your confidence, your self-esteem, who you are, because we don't see development in isolation or independent of each other. Development is interdependent, I would say, as a child development practitioner myself, and this needs to be aligned, because from now, if they firmly grounded in the understanding of who they are and their identity, this is also going to assist in terms of their confidence, their positive self-esteem, a positive self, who they are. So it's essential as children, because what we do is maybe we don't do this now, and then when they're teenagers, they're struggling. We want to now explain to them in terms of who you are, your identity, your big belonging. By then, things are already deep seated in them. So I think for me, that's why this 0 to 4 and 0 to 5 age is very, very fundamental in terms of all domains of development.
And that's why the parents' role here comes in. It's very important because as a young child of 3 to 4, they don't know what is self care. They don't know what is their likes and dislikes. They're only building their personalities. So what we have to do as parents and the primary caregiver is to lead the way. So parents can actually help them to build awareness of their own of the child's interest, to be able to guide the child, if I may say, to what the child is like, what the child dislikes, and sort of form their personality and confidence in themselves. So, if I can elaborate here, if a parent sees that the child perhaps likes to draw, then take it further. Allow them to draw. Praise them when they're drawing something. Ask them to draw something that they like. Allow them opportunities to talk about things that interest them. I know sometimes children babble on about some things that don't interest us, and in our daily lives, we are so busy as mothers also. But take that time to speak about what interests the child, because that is how you allow them to build that confidence and self awareness. And if we do it now within this first 4 years, it's going to be so much easier when they become adults themselves, because if their confidence is strong, then it helps them with mental health issues. It helps them with staying in abusive relationships. So ultimately, they become well-grounded adults. We can't separate the two. We can't say, let's talk about birth to 4 and then adults as separate entities, because what happens in your childhood actually affects you later on in life. So, if we actually want a well grounded human being, then we need to focus on these areas, help them and guide them. For example, if they, at the age of 4, they can make decisions on what they wear. But if they don't know, the mother can maybe say, let's look outside. What is the weather like? What can we wear? So, little things like that just lead them to gain that confidence in themselves, so that they can start making informed decisions from little things like food, what they're wearing, and then later on, then the bigger decisions can fall into play.
I am so pleased that you mentioned this, because I'm a strong advocate. From 3.5, I allow my children to be part of the decision making process. So I ask them whether, even if it's a simple thing, like when we discuss the concept of kindness and charity, and I don't tell them we're going to make hampers or that. I ask them, I explain to them that there are people who are hungry out there. Their parents don't have jobs. They don't even have a fridge. Or, and I asked them, I said, do you think it's a good idea for us to go shopping and purchase something and hand it out to them? So I don't tell them we're going to do this. I ask them, I make them think about anything I ask them. And then once I teach them the concept of Nia, intention, I ask them, good Nia, not good Nia, good idea, not good idea. And I always go. So I'm not, I'm leading them. Even when I
Yes.
do a concept, like you say, for me, Islamic tarbiyah is basically early childhood development 0 to 4. I did research on those papers in it, and also so much to so suffice to tell you that if you follow Islamic etiquette in Tarbiyah, you are already a year and a half in terms of developmental milestones. You're giving your child a head start. One day, inshallah, in a future program, myself and you can elaborate on this because this I've done in a formal research setting that I've proved the thesis that Islamic etiquette in Tarbiyah at this age is actually enhances development and supports early childhood development. And it's a blueprint in terms of this. But like you say, make them part of the decision making because it kickstarts your neuroreceptors in terms of your decision process. From now already, your brain's pathways are opening as they make decisions, as opposed to just telling them, wear this, do this, come do this. Instead of just shouting out instructions, we need to make children part of the decision process. And also, I think you will concur with me in terms of when they do something that is not or they engage in inappropriate behavior, you need to question them and make them realize why you saying that behavior was inappropriate, because then you allow them to reflect in their
Yes,
thinking.
because then you're building the awareness, like I say, of why is that behavior inappropriate. Because ultimately, you want them to gain that confidence to be able to know what is inappropriate and appropriate behavior when they get into their teenage years. So by us guiding them and explaining to them why that behavior is inappropriate, it sort of actually molds them into that neuro pathways, like you say, that are being built up in the first 4 years. So in that essence, you are actually building those understanding pathways, those positive links in the brain.
You know what? We can talk on forever in this, and I am going to get you on further as we go along to take a subject like this because for me, education starts there. The early childhood development for me, it's fundamental, it's vital, and like I say, it's the at that stage. Even if you send your child out to a play group, to an early childhood development center, you are a parent is still the primary educator at that
Yes.
stage. So parents, you have a vital, essential role to play here. Also, I don't think you can just pass on that to the educator. And I think some parents lack the confidence. Am I doing a good enough job? Am I doing the right thing for my child? Please, parental instinct will guide you and show you the way. But please know you are the primary educator at that stage. And I think whatever as a parent you guide your child or you facilitate in all domains of development in life, including education, it's motivated by love and the sense that you want your child to become that best version of themselves in a responsible adult and somebody who contributes positive society, somebody that will be somebody who is going to make a difference in society. So I think parents don't even negate yourself in terms of I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I need professional help. Start from you. Your professional help by way of your educator at that age there complements or reinforces what you have been doing. That is why it's important when looking for educational institutions at that age. uh, the ethos and the value of the school must be close to the values that you ascribe to and the ethos that you ascribe to. Sister Mashira, I'll give you the last saying in terms of what I've just mentioned to comment further there.
Yes, I think it's very important. And even if you say like parents who are maybe less confident, they need to maybe then take our religion, because like I said, it's very well grounded in terms of early childhood development. If you take, for example, if we teach them the dua for eating from a very young age, their brain is susceptible and it learns it much quicker than if you were maybe an adult to learn it. So just for the cognitive development, for example, that's another topic on its own. But
mm.
just to illustrate how our religion is so grounded in terms of a child's development. So if they can learn a dua in like few seconds or one day of saying it to them, how well are other pathways in their brain open to in all the other multiple intelligences or whatnot. So we use our religion as a base, and then the child will automatically develop from there.
Yeah, because Islam essentially is not even a religion. It's a way of life. It's a way how
Yes.
we do things. And it's for me, the optimal, perfect way of life that we can aspire to.
And look,
Inshallah, I will, mm,
for example, with identity and belonging, it's all about self hygiene and stuff. What do they teach us? Teach about cleanliness, all of those things. So that's why it's particularly important, and only now
Tahara
becoming
is
out of
one of,
it.
yeah, Tahara is one of our foundations of Deen. So Alhamdulillah, it's been fascinating as always, inshallah. But we will chat. At least I want to try and have the segment once a month where we focus on a particular aspect of early childhood development. But shukran, much appreciated for your time and your valuable insight into early childhood development. And inshallah, we will connect again with you in the future. Stay safe and stay warm. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa
Ameen.
alaikum assalam.
Okay, we're going to go for a short break. And when we get there, we're going to speak to she's the head girl of St. Martin's School, and we're discussing COVID-19 and its implications for matriculants. So please do uh, stay tuned. After the break, we'll be speaking to Latani.